Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another TV4Ed admin user training. My name is Quentin, and I'm going to be walking you through the user training today. Now, the session is live, so if you do have any questions, over on the right-hand side of your screen, you've got a chat console. If you want to ask me any questions, ask me to slow down or clarify anything, chuck it in there. I'm monitoring all the questions that are coming through, and I'll be able to answer them for you. Now, today with the admin training, what are we going to be covering? We're going to be having a look at things that you need to do to get started with TV4Education, setting up your security, making sure that kids aren't going to be accessing videos that they shouldn't be able to access, and making sure that staff have the ability to access the entire collection. We're going to go through the basics of TV4Education. How do you administer that? And making sure that you know how to add users and give them access to the system. And finally, we're going to be having a look at how you can communicate with the customer service team members if you have any questions that you need answered. So without further ado, let me swap over to my screen and we'll get started. Now, everyone should have received a welcome letter. The welcome letter will have a number of key points of information for you. The first one will be what your unique URL is for your school's TV4Education system. It will also have your personal username, and it will have a link for you to click, or a button for you to click to set up your password if you're logging in for the first time. Now, if you haven't received that, please contact us at support@functionalsolutions.com.au. Or better yet, if there is another administrator at your school that already has access, reach out to them and ask them to give you privileges. Now, we're going to go through in a moment how to set up those users, so stay tuned and we'll get to that in one very short moment. Now, once you've got all that information, you need to log into the system. So top right-hand corner, you have the sign in button. Enter your email address into the field. I'm obviously using a generic account here on our demonstration platform. We don't recommend that at all because there's no auditing trails that you can do. We can't find out who's been adding, removing, making changes to the collection if you're using a generic account. So make sure that you are logging in using your personal email address and you don't share your credentials with anyone. Okay, now once we log in, we have full access to the system. If you're a TV4Ed only school, because you're running on the Smart Suite system, you are going to see things like catalog, circulation, stock take. If you're using us just for TV4Education, you can basically just ignore those. That's for the Smart Suite library system, which most of you already have access to, even if you're not using it. So if you wanted to have a look at that later down the stage, give us a call and we can walk you through how those systems work. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at today though is a couple of things that we need to do before we get started with TV4Education, making sure that it's ready to go for our school's environment. So top left hand corner, if you see any of our instructions referring to system menu, okay, that's the little icon top left hand corner. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on that, and we're going to go over to configuration, followed by authority editor. Okay, once we're here, we're going to change this audience drop down to class grade. Now what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be setting the security levels that each of our various groups, our various year levels have access to. Okay, now I'm going to show you our highly recommended security program, which is that we want to assign a security value that's equal to the value of, or the numerical value of the year level itself. So if we have a year 2 class, we want to set the security so that it is a level 2. If we have a year 6 class, we want to set the security so that it is a level 6. Now the way that we do that is on the right hand side of all of our year levels, there is an edit icon. Click on that, and you'll see that there is a security field. So all we need to do is make sure that we type number 2 in there, hit save, close that down, and move on to the next one. Year 3s, we'll set that to year 3s. If we're a high school, obviously we're going to go to year 9s, set that to year 9, do the same for 10, 11, 12. Okay, now what this is telling the system is that this particular year level, and let's use year 9 as an example, this particular year level has the ability to watch any program in your collection that has a security from 0 up to 9. So it's a range. So they can watch 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9. If there is a program that has a security of 10 or a security of 12, it's outside of the year 9 security range. Therefore, they're not going to be able to watch that program. Okay, so this is the upper limit for what they can watch in your collection. So go through and set that for all of your year levels. If you're a K to 12 school, we recommend setting your kindergartens and preps to 0 because usually there's not much difference between them. They can either watch G-rated content or they can't watch anything at all. So leave them as 0. Start off with year 1s having security of 1, year 2s having security of 2, so on and so forth. When we get to our staff, that's where things change a little bit. Instead of giving them a security range of 12, we want to give them something that's completely outside of the 0 to 12. Okay, so we recommend giving this staff security of 50. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to do. That's setting up all the security against all of our year levels. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to tell the system, okay, if we've got these security ranges here, we need to assign a security value to G, PG, M, MA, etc. so that the system can automatically apply that. Now the way that we do that is in the same screen, we're going to go from class grade to video default security. Okay, and we're going to tell the system the highest year level that has the ability to watch all of these different programs. Okay, so for G, we want everyone to be able to watch it. So we're going to say that is 0. And that means that because we're thinking about our users, the range is 0 to whatever value we place. So for year 9s, it's 0 to 9. So if we put 0 against the G-rated videos, 0 is in everyone's range, therefore they have the ability to watch it. Now PG, we can see that it's starting from 7. So it's outside the ranges of our year 6s, our year 5s, year 4s, year 3s, year 2s, year 1s, etc. It's going to start from 7 and above. Okay, M's, they are going to be watched by year 11s and above. MA is 12s and above. R is our staff only. Okay, and if we wanted to, for whatever reason, we can also add in our own, and that's why you see that there's a Q value, and then there's also some security ranges there. So that might be for internal training or plays that you just want accessible by the administrative team of your system. Okay, so you need to come here and you need to set that. That's going to dictate a lot of what can happen and who can watch programs on different screens. Okay, so number 1, you need to set the security values against the year levels. Number 2, you then need to assign the year or the security levels against each classification that you want to have access. Okay, once you've done those 2 things, then we can start jumping into administering the system. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, or look at rather, with administering the system is getting the users on board. All right, now we do that by going to System menu, coming to Patron, and then going to Patron Management. Now in Patron Management, we have a toolbar that appears at the bottom of the screen. This toolbar will have all the controls to manage the users that are within your system. So I've got the ability to navigate through my collection of users. I've got the ability to click find, and I can look for the name of a specific user and bring up their profile. I've also got the ability to add a new user. So if I click new, it's going to make all the fields blank and allow me to start typing their information in. So if I wanted to add a new user, in the barcode field, enter their email address if you're a TV4Ed only user. If you're using the library system as well, you'd enter their barcode into this field. Okay, if you're using single sign-on, you'd also enter their network username into the username field. Okay, first name, surname, email address, assign their class grade. So you don't have to do security, leave that as is. When we save the user, whatever we have selected on our class grade table that we just set up is going to be inherited here. Okay, assign a homeroom so that we can do some reporting on different homerooms later on. Okay, and then this particular field here is extremely important, and the reason behind that is it will provide access to different pages within the system. So students, they basically can only view content that is within this security levels. Okay, if we wanted to provide total access to the TV4Education library and give the user access to request content and create content using the Smart Classrooms utility and a whole bunch of other features that are within the system, we need to give them the relevant rights. So the way that we do that is we remove that student role by clicking the cross. Then we click on the field again and we select teacher from the drop-down list. Okay, once it loads. So in this particular field here, we're going to see a big long list of all the various roles that are available within our system. We'll see things like administrator, librarian, cataloger, teacher, student, etc. And they are going to provide access to the various pages that are within our system. Okay, so we need to go ahead and select the most appropriate role for whoever that we're creating. Okay, now let's just assume that I've gone ahead there and select teacher. When I click save down the bottom, the system is going to give me a little message, and it's going to say I'm going to generate a random password for this user, and I'm going to send them an email with their welcome information with instructions on how to log in for the first time. Okay, so all we need to do is click OK to that, and that has saved into the system for us. Okay, so if we have made a mistake and we've added student instead of a teacher, after the user has been saved, we can make changes to them. So I can remove that student role, re-add the teacher role, and just hit save, and that's done. All we then need that user to do is log out, log back in. They now have the additional privileges on the system. Okay, so adding a user, very, very simple. It's basically just clicking new, typing the information in, and then hitting save. The system does the rest. If that user has left the school, and according to our TV4Education terms and conditions and our screen rights requirements, we don't want those teachers or students having access to our TV4Education library any longer. All we need to do, come into Patron Management, hit delete, and that's going to wipe their access from your system. Okay, now it's not going to remove all their watch statistics, so we still are going to be able to pull up statistics like what's the highest year level that's accessing the system, what's the video that's being watched the most, what's the subject that's been accessing the most, etc., etc. we're just going to cut access for that individual user. Okay, so that is the adding of users within your system. Okay, when it comes to the actual access to TV4Education, this is something that you need to make very, very clear to your teachers. And that is that if they end up on a page that looks like this one here, where you've got information on the left-hand side and you've got results or the video player on the right-hand side, that is the school's collection. So this is all of the content that has been flagged by teachers at your school that they think that it's going to be relevant for future lessons, or they're currently using it in a lesson at the school. Now, TV4Education has over 180,000 individual titles. Our best user on TV4Education, who's been with us for many, many, many years, will have about 10 to 12,000 of those resources in their collection. So if your teachers are trying to find material by searching here, they're not going to get 5% of the results that are actually available. And this is something that if you're doing training with the staff, it's in our welcome letters and it tells them which pages to access, but you may want to reiterate this to them, that if they want to search TV4Education, they need to click the system menu, go to search, and select TV4Education. From here, the page is very distinct. It's a white background page. It has the TV4Education logo, and all of the video content will load on the screen here. Okay, from here, this is the total 180,000 video titles that are available from the TV4Education library. You also have the ability from this screen to connect with the learning advisors and make requests for free-to-air, for Foxtel, for topics, for lessons, all that sort of content, but it's all done from this particular screen. Okay, so the categories, when they first load, you can view the resources that match those categories. If there's something of interest, click on the title of the video. That's going to load it up and start playing that video for you. If your teachers want to put it into full screen, click on the full screen mode and that'll fire that video up for you. Okay. If you execute a search within the system, you'll see at the top of the screen here that there's a couple of little links. If I execute a search for any particular title, or I do a search for a topic, or a curriculum code, or a curriculum area, the system by default is going to highlight TV4Education. And what that's showing you is that currently you're looking at the TV4Education library. So this is all of our proprietary content. This is our free-to-air, our Foxtel, our partnership material, our vodcasts, our podcasts. That's all the content that's currently being displayed on the screen. If I want to see that raw video contents, that's where I need to look. If I'm after lessons, click on the lessons tab, and all the lessons that have been created by our learning advisors are then going to load up. And these are all interactive lessons, they're worksheets, they're playlists that all your teachers have access to from day one. If I want to see what is available from YouTube on that particular topic, I can hit YouTube and all of the YouTube material will load. Okay, everything works the same way. You click on the title, it'll load the information, start playing the video, or it will make the lesson accessible to you. Okay, so that's a very, very brief rundown of TV4Education for our TV4Ed admins. We have a host of YouTube training events that happen every week. We do a minimum of 8 YouTube training events every week. 3 of those are designed and focused on your teacher experience. So jump onto our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, subscribe so that you get notification of when those events are happening. But you can point your teachers in the direction of those teacher training events. And those teacher training events will go into a lot more detail on how to search and navigate the library. It'll go into a lot more depth on how to request, how to set up your interests, what setting up your interest does in the terms of the user experience for you as a user. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you point your teachers in the direction of those videos, as well as if we throw anything up on the channel like how do I edit TV4Education videos, which we are doing this afternoon, you will get notification and you can send an invitation to those events to your teachers as well. Now, if you need to communicate with our customer service team members at all TV4Education users have access to the concierge service. So this is that little blue icon at the bottom right-hand side of every screen. This is a priority line that comes straight to our customer service team members. So if you have any questions in regards to support, you can communicate with the team members directly using the concierge service. If you prefer to log a ticket, you can do that by opening up the system menu, going down to support and clicking contact support. That's going to go straight to your mailbox where you can track all of your previous tickets. You can also open up a brand new ticket and say, hey, I need some assistance with this. Okay. Over in the support menu, you also have access to our full online help system. So this is going to cover all of our product lines, including our consumer-based products. For TV4Education, you can either search for the topic that you're interested in the bar at the top, or you can go straight to TV4Education, and all of the articles that relate with TV4Education will load up on the screen there. Back in the support menu, you've got a quick link to the training videos. Okay, that's going to take you back to our YouTube channel. Again, please make sure that you subscribe just to keep up to date with all the events that we're planning and any training events that are coming up as well. Okay, as I said, we do a minimum of 8 of these live events every week, ranging on topics from a lockdown series, so how to get the most out of Smart Suites, building lessons, collaborating with lists online, monitoring your user engagement whilst they're not in the classroom with you. That's all possible with smart classrooms and TV4Education. So to get the best out of the system, make sure that you come along to those events. Back in support, you've also got the FSI user community. So if you're a Facebook user, jump onto the community, have discussions with other like-minded Smart Suite and TV4Education users, not just about the system, but about all things education and libraries. Okay, and then you've also got a printable quick start guide. So this is everything that we believe our users will use within the first 6 months of the product. From there, you then go back over to the help system, where we will blow up all of the features and functions on that platform there. Okay, so as far as the TV4Education admin training goes today, that's about as much as we wanted to cover with you. I hope that you got a lot out of it. Just remember, there's a couple of things that you need to do when you first log in as an administrator. We need to make sure that our security is set up on our classifications, or our class grades, sorry. And we've also set up the corresponding security against all of our video classifications. Okay, those two things are very, very important before we move on to adding and managing our users. Okay, now again, if you've got any questions, the customer service team members are there to help. I'm going to stay on the live session for a couple of more minutes. If you do have any more questions, reach out to me on the chat console, and I'll make sure, chat console, I'll make sure that I'll answer those for you today. If not, have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next time on YouTube Live.